Hello, Internet, and welcome back to Sacre Bleu by Christopher Moore. Today we're covering chapters 3 and 4, so I hope you've read up to that point because I do not want to ruin anything for you. I also thought that today I would do something special, considering that this chapter is all about how Lucien's parents are bakers, and I thought I would bake some biscuits. Chapter 3 actually takes us back to a time when Lucien was about 10 years old. And, well, he wants to be a painter, of course. Because in fiction, every 10-year-old knows exactly what they want to do with their life. And the thing was his father also wanted to be a painter. And his father and him are discussing, the different paintings that they're seeing while they're working in the bakery. And the mother is kind of standing over them saying, telling the father, "Don't fill our son's head with such rubbish. He doesn't need to learn how to paint. He'll never get paid for it. He needs to learn how to be a baker." And the father's like, "Don't listen to your mother. Always be wary of women who want to crush your dreams. And always be wary of spiteful women." And his mother's like, "I'm also beautiful, aren't I?" And he's like, "I don't need to worry about him. I don't need to warn him off of beauty, do I? I just need to warn him off of spite." And she says, "Also be wary of, letting in beggar artists that aren't going to get you any money." And they kind of yell at each other through their son. And it makes a point of that in the book to let you know that the son knows exactly what they're doing. And that at times like these, he usually just shuts up and lets them talk. And there's also a painter that visits them while they're cooking. And the guy's name is Pissarro. And Lucien runs up and gives Pissarro this drawing that he made of two dogs wrestling. But I think we all know that those dogs were in Congress, don't we? And so these two dogs wrestling are given to Pissarro, and he says, "This is a lovely painting. I would love to buy it off of you." And Lucien says, "Really? But what about your own son, Lucien?" Because both the main character, Lucien, and his childhood friend have the same name. And Pissarro says, "Oh, don't worry about him. He will understand. I will put this up in my gallery. It's such a beautiful drawing." And, young Lucien could not be happier that someone is so interested in his art. I am doing very badly at this. I'm trying, people. I'm trying. I'm learning new skills as I record for you. Anyways, there's an auction for one of Pissarro's paintings at the bakery that Lucien and his parents own. And the auction goes off, and this beautiful woman wins one of the paintings that Pissarro painted. And he goes up to greet her and thank her for, getting the painting. And she says, "I was kind of hoping that I could just exchange this for free baked goods." And Pissarro's face and heart just drop at this. And the woman's like, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you." And, Sorrow, gladly gives her the painting. And they run off. And also, while that's going on, Lucien actually encounters his first sighting of blue paint. And this is kind of like the crux of the story right now, is blue paint. And, how it's very elusive and how people, just can't seem to find it, except for the color man, the awkward, really creepy color man. I think that's good enough. Then we fast forward in the next chapter to when Lucien is an adult, and Lucien is, doing his thing. And Lucien is trying to get this woman that he likes to agree to let him paint her. And this woman says, I'm not sure. You really need to find a proper, a proper studio. Because I'm not just going to be painted anywhere. And Lucien says, of course, we need the proper lighting. And the woman is like, exactly. And so she also says, I want you to paint me nude. To which, Lucien kind of gives into his hormones. And she says, yes, you must paint me with all of your clothes off. To kind of joke with him. And this is the kind of witty banter that's in all of Christopher Moore's books. And this is the kind of witty banter that I truly enjoy from Christopher Moore. I'm going to make 4 more biscuits here. As soon as my hands just stop doing that. And so Lucien agrees, and he goes off to find a proper studio. And once he does, that comes up in later chapters. I'm going to finish cutting out these biscuits, and we'll put them in the oven soon. So let's see. Lucien has his model, and they're searching for a studio. And while that's going on... Ooh, that's warm. While that's going on, Henry is going through the letters that Vincent van Gogh had actually written him. And he's realizing that Vincent van Gogh has been going a little crazy early on. He's been talking about how he wants to step away from color. And so Henry starts to surmise that maybe it's the color man that's actually following Vincent around. And perhaps, maybe, there was something to do with the color man and Vincent's death. But then we also flash back to about 5 years ago when Henry had a model of his own. And the model had asked him, are you a painter? And he's like, yes, I am a painter. And they're talking about all the different ways that, he could paint her. And she says, this is great. And Henry leaves her right outside of a hotel. And as she's leaving this alleyway that he leaves her in, a pimp actually walks up to her and says, You know, yo, baby, I can make you a star. And, you know, you just have to, you know, have sex with people. Be in Congress with people. And she looks at him and she says, "Are you a painter?" And he's like, "No, baby, I'm no painter. I am pimp. I'm gonna make you a wonderful offer." And she says, "Then I have no use for you." And she takes her hand, shoots it into his jugular, lifts him up, snaps him in half, kills him, and leaves him lying and bleeding in an alley. It's insane and terrifying. But this is kind of why I like Christopher Moore's books. He makes you laugh one page and scares the crap out of you in the next. I hear Stephen King can do that, but I enjoy Christopher Moore laughs a lot better. After that, we flash forward to Lucien kind of talking to his model some more, figuring out where they're going to paint. And that's pretty much where it leaves off, with Lucien talking to one of his friends who notices a model and says she's beautiful, and Lucien says, "Yes, she's my woman." And now, I think it's time for questions. There we go. So, now I have some buttery biscuits, and I will be enjoying them after I finish talking with you all. But first, I have questions. I have a question for you today, since there is a scene in there where young Lucien was so innocent that he didn't realize that the dogs that he was drawing weren't wrestling. They were in Congress, as I so love to say. When was a time that you remember where you misconstrued something completely and totally innocently that was actually a little bit dirty? And I will answer that for you tomorrow. But first, I have to answer the question that I laid for you yesterday, which was, how do you like to deliver bad news? Now, no one actually likes to deliver bad news. But if it has to be done, I like to make sure that I'm doing it where I would get an immediate response. So email and text are just right out of the question. If they're far away, I'll do it in a phone call. Or I'll, if they are nearby, I will definitely do it face to face. I much prefer to do it face to face than any other way. Just so that they can see in my eyes that I'm not kidding. Because I'm kind of a goof. And I kind of like to, be a goof. And sometimes people don't see my goofiness. They see, or sometimes they mistake my seriousness for being goofy. So if I'm in person and they can see my face being sad, they know it's serious. But anyways, do not forget that the next book that I will be reading is Wrestle by Jeff Smith. Go out and borrow it from a bookstore, borrow it from a friend, borrow it from a library, buy it on a Kindle. I don't really care what you do as long as it's legal and you read it before I ruin it for you. I've been the purple-haired doofus, reminding you to watch your pajama radius. And I will see you all in the next chapters of Sacre Bleu by Christopher Moore. I'm going to enjoy my biscuits.
Toodles.